Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Hello and welcome back to today's DAF Hayemi Bava Kamma DAF Ches. We got up to Zayin Amud Beis, 5 lines off the bottom of the Amud Esvei. A mazik pays idis, meaning if he chooses to pay with property, he must pay his best property. Idis. So there is idis, which is class A. We have beinonis, class B, and zibur is the worst, the most inferior, class C. Which one do you pay? A mazik pays idis. However, we had a question. This question was posed to Rabbi Abba. How do we determine this definition of idis? Whose standards do we follow? Is it based on his personal assets, meaning the best that I own, the mazik's best? So let's say he owns quality A and quality A plus, which is above and beyond the market, norm. Does he have to pay his very best, or is it enough to pay quality A, which is considered, the highest standard out there in the market? Rabbi Abba responds, well, how can you suggest that he gets away with just quality A? Torah says, Meitav Sadehu Yishalim. He must pay the best of his assets, the best of the best. Whatever is by him considered idis, that's what you pay. Esvei. So Rabbi Shmuel bar Abba Me'akrunya, who asked Rabbi Abba this question, responds back to Rabbi Abba. How could you say Bishaloi hein shamin? It's determined based on his assets. Esvei. Listen to this kasha from a brisa. Ein lo elo idis. Suppose a fellow had 3 chiyuvim, 3 payments to make. 1 because he was a mazik, B because he borrowed money, and C because he owed his wife the ksuba payments. So now the mazik is after him, the baal chayv is after him, the ksubas isha. We know that the mazik is entitled to idis. Baal chayv to beinonis, medium quality. Ksubas isha, quality C. Ein lo yeli idis. Suppose he has nothing other than the best, and he's meant to make 3 payments. Kulam goyvim and idis. They're all entitled to take idis. That's what he has. Suppose he only has beinonis, quality B. Kulam goyvim beinonis. That's what they all get. Zibur is quality C. Once again, kulam goyvim. Zibur is quality C. Well, let's say he has all 3. This fellow who's meant to make this triple payment happens to have 3 types of fields, A, B, and C. Okay, so each fellow is entitled to his thing. Nizaken, he takes be'idis, right? The fellow who incurred damage, he's entitled to the best. Ubal chayv, the creditor, the bank, the beinoin is medium quality. Uksubas isha, the isha, she gets busy burs. Suppose he has 2 types, idis, ubeinonis, quality A, quality B. So now we have to move things around slightly. So nizaken, he sticks to the idis, right? Nizaken be'idis. Bal chayv uksubas isha, that's a chiddush. That even the isha will get beinonis because he doesn't have ziburis. What if he has beinonis with ziburis, B and C? Nizaken and bal chayv, they get B, beinonis. So the nizak is downgraded because that's what you have. Meaning if he has more, he's entitled to access more, but if he doesn't have more than beinonis, then you get beinonis. Uksubas isha, what does she get? Ziburis. What if he has A and C? Idis, viziburis. Nizaken gets be'idis, quality A. Ubal chayv, uksubas isha, they both get viziburis, quality C. Okay, that's the price. Ketoni miyametzia. Let's go back to the middle case. Beinonis viziburis. He has B and C. Nizaken ubal chayv, they get B, beinonis. Uksubas isha gets viziburis. Now the question is like this. What does he have? B and C. True. Relative to to market standards, it's called B. But in his world, he only has B and C. So by him, B is the best. Right? If according to you, Rabbi Abba, it's all based on what he has. So so really his baininess turns into idis. It's sort of upgraded. It's relabeled. It's his best. It's the best that he has. And he shouldn't give it to the Baal Chayv, who's not entitled to more than Beinoinis. This is now Idris. V'yidacha Baal Chayv, it says a burst. Send the Baal Chayv to the Ziburis. He's not entitled to this. This is called Idris, even though in market standards it's not, but in my standards it is. If you're right that it's all based on his personal standards. Answers the Gemara, actually you're right, but here we're speaking about a special case. We're speaking this fellow borrowed money. At the time he had field which was commonly recognized in market terms as idis. Umachar, and then he sold it off. He had no right to sell it. So what happened was that the Beinonis that he had at the time, right, he had Idis, Beinonis, and Ziburis, A, B, and C. And he sold off A. So, in reality, the B property was already committed to the Baal Chayv, because at the time of that loan, he had A, B, and C, and B was committed to the Baal Chayv. It's not just because he sold off field A, still field B is still committed. It never lost that shibut to the Baal Chayv. So even though currently it's the best that he has, because he got rid of A, so now B turns into, Idis relative to his assets, doesn't matter. Because it was already committed to the Baal Chayv at the point of that loan. The same terrace, he had A and he sold it, so now this field, Beinonis, had been committed to the Baal Chayv. A proven fact that this is the case. Take a look at another Bryce, which says Beinonis v'ziburis. He has B and C, and he owes, triple payment to the Nizak, to the Baal Chayv, to the Isha. What happens? Nizak and Beinonis. Nizak gets B, Baal Chayv, Uksubas Isha, they get Beziburis, which is very different than the previous Bryce, which told us that in a similar situation the Baal Chayv gets Beinonis. No, he gets Ziburis. Why? Kashin Hadad. We seem to have a stira, contradiction between two Bryces. Again, Bryce A says, both Bryces are speaking about a fellow who owed a Nizak, a Baal Chayv, a Ksubas Isha, and he's only left with field B and field C, Beinonis and Ziburis. So in Bryce, number one, it said that the Baal Chayv gets from the Beinonis. In this Bryce, it says that he gets from the Ziburis. Kashin Hadad. We have a kashin now. Elo Lav Shma Mino. The only way to answer would be with our teretz. That the previous Bryce is speaking where he had Idis at the time when he borrowed that money. But then he sold it off a Machara. So since at the time of that loan he had Idis, so now this Beinonis was committed to the Baal Chayv. So even though later on he unloaded the Idis, and now the Beinonis is his best, doesn't matter. It's still committed to the Baal Chayv. Whereas in the second Bryce we're speaking Idis Machara, this never took place. He never had Idis and solo. He only had B and C. And therefore he's not committed to giving the B to the Baal Chayv because it's his best. And as we said before, we evaluate, we appraise relative to his standards. Another possible answer to reconcile the two Bryces. In both Bryces, we're speaking that there was no Idis which was sold, and Brashi adds, and both Bryces concur that Bishal Olam Hein Shaman. We determine based on market value, market standards, not on his standards. But Kasha, the answer is like this. When the Brisa says that the Baal Chayv and the Ksubas Isha go to Ziburis, we're speaking that his B is so super valued, it's like Idis out in the market. So the Baal Chayv is not entitled to it. Whereas the Brisa which says that the Baal Chayv can access the Beinonis, the Lo Shavya. We're not speaking that he has such high quality properties that his Beinonis is worth like Idis, the Alma. It's a regular Beinonis. Even in market terms, it's beinonus. So the Baal Chayv gets. Everybody saying another pshat can be. Both cases, in both brises, his beinonus was really beinonus out there. In market terms, it was regarded as beinonus. And he never had, the idis which was sold off. Skip that whole story. So his beinonus is treated like beinonus out in the market. But in his world, this is my best. And this is the machlekes. Brisa number 1 holds, Brisa number 2, which says that the Baal Chayv is not entitled to it. That's because we look at his standards. By him, this is the best. He's not required to give it. Umar Savar, whereas Brisa number 1, which says Baal Chayv can access this beinonus, it's based on market evaluation, market standards, and since it's called beinonus out there, goes to the Baal Chayv. Rabbi Yehuda, I'll give you another teretz. With the ula pligi, the machlekes revolves around ula's halacha. The Amar ula dvar Torah, you should know that min Torah Baal Chayv beziburis, a creditor is entitled to inferior quality. When he collects, he gets the worst. Shneimar b'chutz tamid. Wait outside for him. V'yisha shetanoisha, when the fellow who you have a claim against, basically your borrower, will give you. He'll bring you out, the mashkin. What do you think he's going to give you to guarantee the loan, to apply to the loan? What's presumed here? What's he going to bring to you? Chances are he's going to bring you the worst. Pachash became the worst of his kalim. That's all you're entitled to. You don't have a claim to any more than that. So Min Torah, Baal Chayv gets the worst. Umatam, Amru, Baal Chayv beinonus. So why, in fact, did the Chacham upgrade his ability and gave him beinonus? You know why? Otherwise, nobody's going to lend money. People will have a very difficult time opening their doors to let the loiva in to borrow money. So that the doors don't slam in the face of the loiva. We want to encourage people to lend money. That's machlekes between the brises. Do we hold of this or not? Mar islay dakanta ula. So the first brisa, which says Baal Chayv gets beinonus, like ula, we give him the beinonus. Umar less like takanta ula. Whereas brisa number 2 says no, Baal Chayv he gets ziburis. So it's a fundamental machlekes in terms of the zechus of a Baal Chayv. Can he access beinonus or not? Okay, so in summation, a fellow had 3 payments to make, to a nizak, to a Baal Chayv, to an isha. And he had every possible type of property. Idis, that goes to the nizak. He has beinonus, that goes to the Baal Chayv. He has ziburis to the isha. What if he only has part of them? Some yes. Then we have a discussion. We have 2 brises, which we had a stira. We had several ways to answer the kasha. Tanarabban. Once again, this fellow had 3 payments to make. And he had 3 types of land. Each one is appropriate for that, respective claimant. Tanrabana, machron le'echad. But this fellow goes and sells. This Reuven fellow who owed all this money sold all his 3 fields, the idis, the beinonus, the diburis, to one customer. Machron le'echad, or to 3 people. One he sold to this person, one to that. Ke'echad, all at once, one sitting in one day. Kulon nichnasu tachas abalim. So they sort of step into his shoes. Meaning the fellow who bought the idis has to give it to the nizak. Because if you buy something which was mishubah, which was committed, which had a lien on it, you're responsible. You should stay clear from things which are mishubah. So when you buy that, you have to pick up the chiyuv, the responsibility, the achrayis, the obligation that the seller had. So basically, the fellow who bought the idis owes it to the nizik. The one who bought the beinonus gives it to Baal Chayv. The fellow who purchased the ziburis to the isha. But if it's bezeh chazeh, suppose it was one after the other. So on Sunday he sold the idis to one fellow on Monday he sold the Beinanis to the next fellow. It wasn't all in one sitting. So basically, the first customer can say, look, what do you want from me? I left you over plenty of stuff to take from. I didn't buy out your lien. Kulon, Goyvim, and Achron. So all three, the Nizak, the Balchayv, they'll go to the last available land, meaning the one that was sold last. And let's say there isn't enough there to go around. Goyvim, Shalafonov, they'll go to the fellow who bought before him. And there isn't enough there. Goyvim, Shalafonov, go to the two before him, to the first customer. So basically, it's an order of the sale. End of price. Now, what do you mean he sold all three things to one person? He sold them at once. In one star. Here, take Idis, my Bainis, the Burris, boom, it's yours. Why even discuss this case? It's just a simple case. Of course, this fellow is not responsible to satisfy all these, all these claims. Even when it's sold to three separate people. Remember, in that case, we can say, perhaps one fellow purchased the field in the morning, one in the afternoon. So the fellow who came first, he's not in it because I left you over. Still, we say, even in that case, we say Amrus. We say Kulon Nichon Sutach. All three equally responsible, right? If it happened the same day, because we don't know which one was first. We don't, right? Of course. It goes without saying. It's so obvious that if he sold all three properties to one person at one shot, of course that person takes over all the chiyuvim, all the obligations. Oh, must be speaking. In the case in the Brisa where he sold it to one person, speaking that it was done incrementally. Right? So Reuben was the one who owed all this money, and he took his fields and he sold them one by one to Shimon. Right? He sold one field on Sunday, one field on Monday, one field on Tuesday. And what does the Brisa say? Shimon now is fully responsible, fully obligated to address all these claims. He has to give the idis to the nizak, the bainis to the balchoiv, etc. Why? Suppose he bought the idis first. Okay, on Monday he bought the bainis. So basically, he left over ziburas in the hands of Reuben. Why can't he say, look, any of you fellows who want to access my properties, go, okay, gesundheit. I'm obligated because I purchased those fields which were tied up, which were meshubah to you, which were committed to your claims. But after all, when I bought the idis, I left you over beinanis. When I bought the beinanis, I left you over ziburis. That's the halacha. As long as there's something available, you can't come to me. So now that I purchased all three, you get the last one, the one that was available last. Right? Just like in the case of three people. The kol chad v'chad amalei hinachtel chamakim l'gmas mimenu. Right? Now the halacha we said before. Instead of one person, he sold them to three. You take the idis, you take beinanis, three different, sale, 3 different days. So now comes payday, they all go to Levi, the last fellow who purchased the last available land, even though it's the worst property, even though it's ziburas. That's the halacha. Because every one of the previous purchasers can claim, Amalek can claim, tell him, I left you over some things to take. Hainami said, same with one single customer. What's if there's three people, one person? If he's bought it stage by stage, so at stage 1 there was still some available. At stage 2, still some available. Hainami, akol halachad. Regarding every field that he purchased, Label can respond and say, keep in mind, I left you something over. I left you the ziburas. You want to claim? Get that. My Skinner was speaking that actually the last field that he purchased was the best. Quality A. So what happened was like this. Again, Reuben owed 3 people. A nizak, a balchoy, a ksubas isha. And he had 3 plots of land. Best, medium, worst. He sold all of them to Shimon. Step by step. But what happened was he sold them Beinanis, Ziburas, and on Tuesday he sold them the Idis. So the last, free available land was Idis, the best quality. So really, Shimon is more than happy not to have to give away the item that he's bought last. He doesn't want to go down that route. He doesn't want to take that track, which is your standard, which is typical for this type of. We usually give you the last, the one that's available, the one that's purchased last. He doesn't want to give up the edus that he purchased last. He prefers paying the beinanis to the balchoy and the ziburas to the isha, etc., rather than giving them out all from ziburas. V'chein Rav Sheishers, the same exact teretz was said by Rav Sheishers. If you go in Shalokach Idus B'Achroina, we're speaking that he purchased Idus the last. 1 second, if that's the case, so they all have perfect right, all of them, the nizik, the balchoy, to get the Idus. Laisi kula v'ligbu me'idus. After all, that's the one he bought last. That's the one that was free and available the longest. The answer is like this. Mishum damar lahu, listen to this. He can respond to them and say like this. Ishat kisu v'shaklisu g'denaychu. Shaklisu. If you behave, if you're quiet and behave, and take what you deserve, you, Mr. Nizuk, take your Idus, fine. But you, the Balchoiv, you stick to Bainis. You, Isha, Ziburis. If you do that, okay, I'll give it to you. Otherwise, if you're making trouble, if you're going to force me to give you the Idus, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to undo the whole system. I'm going to give it all back to Reuben. Then you for sure only get what you deserve. Madarner shtora de ziburis lamori. You know what? I'll return the document for the ziburis, the worst property. Basically, I'll undo the sale. I'll give it back to Reuben. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to be stuck with the ziburis because that's the only free available land in the hands of Reuben. So basically, it's your benefit to cooperate. Take what you deserve and leave me alone. If that's the case, that he has this type of claim on them, so what's he doing? Instead of sort of threatening and blackmailing and forcing them to take the work, he's paying them out what they really deserve. The nizak he gives, why? He can tell the nizak, look, I'll cut a deal with you. Drop down to Baininess, otherwise I'm going to undo the whole thing and you'll be stuck with these ziburas. So evidently there is no such argument. He's not striking deals. You know why? But he asked me, was speaking that the seller, Ruvain, passed away. There are Yisayim on the scene. The Lav B'nei Praninu. Truthfully speaking, they're not obligated to pay their father's debts, and if they would get back this ziburis from Shimon, they're not going to have to pay. So there's no such argument. He can't say, well, I'm going to undo the whole thing. Right? V'shibud delay ole didei ramya. And the shibud, the obligation, the chiyuv to pay, rests on him, on Shimon now. There's nobody else to sort of, throw it on, right? So there's no such argument. I'm going to undo it and he's going to take over. So then how do we explain why he's paying them exactly what they're entitled to get? The Nizak gets the Idis and the Balchav, the Beinonis. If we're speaking that he purchased Idis last, that should be the item of claim. The reason is like this, because he can address them like this, he can tell them like this. Time of my, why is it the Chachamim, set forth this system? Tamai Amar Rabbanon, that you can access the last item that was free and available last. Why? You have no right to collect and to access tied up properties which were purchased from your Baal Chayiv. You can't go there when there's something available and free in the hands of the Levi. You can't go to the customer when the Baal Chayiv himself has free and available assets. You know why they did that? For the benefit of the customer. Because he says, look, I left something behind for you. Because of my takana, meaning this is the customer speaking. It's all for my good. Well, guess what? In this case, where it so happens that the last item that I purchased, the last item which was free and available, was the Idis, I'm going to end up losing. I'm going to be compelled because of this takana to give away my idis. I don't want it. I'm sort of foregoing, I'm opting out from a takana which was made for my benefit. And therefore I'm giving you other assets. I'm not interested in this takana. And you can do that. Because the Rabbi says the same idea. A person gets up and says, I'm not really receptive to this takana which was meant for my good. For instance, like this. What's this? We'll see in a minute. But in any case, do we accept this argument? Yeah, Shamila, we accept it. So therefore, in this case, where Reuben owed the Nizik, the Baal Chayv, the Isha, and he sold everything to Shimon. But Shimon was careful. He bought one, and then another one. The last thing happened to be the Idis, which is typically the item of Shibud now, because it was the thing that was available last, the thing that was purchased last. But he doesn't want that takana. He wants to give the other items, which are lower in value. And that works. Therefore, he gives the Nizik, he gets what he deserves, the Idis, but the other fellows, the Ksuvas Isha, Ziburis, the Machay, the Benims. Now, Mike, going to let's just dwell on one point over here that Rava said you can sort of give up, you can forego a takana kegoinzu like this. What was Rava's reference point? Mike, going to could Rav Huna, Dam Rav Huna. A married woman can turn to her husband and say, look, Chachamim made a takana that you have to feed me, you have to support me, just in case I can't support myself. You know what? I'm a higher earner than you. Let's just tit for tat. You keep the peanut butter sandwich, and I'll keep my oisa, my income. You can do that because it was for her benefit, and therefore she can sort of opt out. Continues the Gemara. Let's go back to this case that we mentioned. A fellow owed money, and he sold off his properties. So Reuben sold Shimon all his properties, Idis and Benonius, Ziburis, and he sold Idis the last. Okay, so he went from Benonius and the Ziburis, and then he sold him the Idis. So in the following case, the halacha will be very clear. Pshita, Machar loikeach Benonius Ziburis. Shimon moved on and sold some stuff that he bought from Reuben. What did he sell? Beinonis and Ziburis, B and C. But he left the Idis, the A, in his possession. V'shir Idis Lafanov. So Reuben sold A, B, and C to Shimon. Let's just do it in order. Reuben sold B, C, and then A. Idis came last. He sold that to Shimon in that order. And Shimon moved on and sold B and C to Levi and left A, which is the last thing that he bought from Reuben, which is the item of the Shibud, he left it in his possession. V'shir Idis Lafanov. Now we have these three people, the Nizik, the Baal Chayv, the Isha. Where do they go? Which address do they knock on? Laisu Kulu V'ligbu Midis. They go to Shimon and take his Idis. Because that's the one he purchased last. Ubeinoinis v'ziburis lesnu gabei. And the bottom line is, he doesn't have anything else. He doesn't have B and C, which would allow him, the Machila Meimalu, which would allow him to offer that and to tell them Gabu mi beinonis v'ziburis, take B and C. He doesn't have it. He can't say that. I'm not interested in Takan Rabbanon. Like we explained before, I want to forego that privilege. I don't want to give the Yidis. I want to give B and C. He doesn't have it. So there's no question in that case that the Baal Chayv, the Ish, they all get the Yidis from Shimon. But let's say Aval Machar Yidis. Suppose Shimon sold the Yidis, which was theoretically, the thing which had the Shibud, because that's what he bought last from Reuben. But he sold it to Levi now. V'shir beinonis v'ziburis. And Shimon is still holding on to B and C. Now they come to collect. Who are they going to collect from? What's the halacha here? So Rabbi Lememer, so initially Rabbi figured, also kulu gamav gamamidis. They have a right to go to Levi and get the Idis. Why? Because he purchased the Shibud. Idis is the Shibud. And they have no recourse. They can't go to Shimon and take the BNC because Shimon will say, "What do you mean? The shibud is on the Yiddish. That's by Levi." So that's what happens. Amalei Rava, the Rava says that I know. They can't go to Levi and collect the Yiddish. Picture, theoretically, if Shimon was in possession of all three A, B, and C, what would happen? We said before, he can opt out of the takana. He can say, "I don't want to give you the Idis," right? So when he sold that Idis to Levi, he gave him all the power that he had in that property. Just like he can reject their claim regarding this karka. Likewise, Levi can do the same. Amalei Rava no ma mocha rishon l'sheni. When one person, when Reuben sells Shimon, or in this case Shimon sold something to Levi, he sold him kol zechus shetav eliyadei. He sold not only the property, but anything that comes along with it, all rights, all powers, all privileges. So basically he takes over all of Shimon's weapons, right? V'chivan de ilu asu gabi lekeach mishon. And since, if theoretically they would have approached the first lekeach, meaning Shimon, he can just shoo them away, right? Matzi agbilu mebenis v'ziburis. He can offer them B and C. V'avapi, right? Goes through a whole discussion. V'avapi, even though the chizavni beinoinis is ziburis, even though when he purchased those fields, akati idis bnei chayr havoy, the idis was still available, and we know that typically you don't take from unavailable if there is available. You don't collect from mechazim mishabadim. Calls mandik bnei chayr when there is bnei chayr available. So we're sort of going through all the steps again. But still, he would theoretically have been able to shoo them away. Matzi Amr, he would have told them, "No, lanichali, in this case, I'm not interested in this option. By takana, I don't want this takana, which was meant for my benefit. I want to give you what I have." So since he could have theoretically laid forth that claim, he transferred that right to Levi as well. Lekeach Sheni, the second purchaser, Levi, Nami here as well. Matzi Amr, you can tell them the same thing. Gabi Beinenis Ziburis. I want you to take the B and C, which is sitting by Shimon, the Chizav and Lekeach Sheni, because when the second purchaser, Levi, purchased the Idis, Adata de Kozachusa, the Havle Larishon Begava Zaman. His mindset was, I'm taking over everything that Reuben had, that Shimon had. All rights, benefits, titles, privileges, everything you could have done, I want to do now. I'm sort of buying out the rights that you had. If you had a way to preserve the Idis, I get that right as well. Amarava. Here comes a new case. Reuven Nisham Machar Kosadesek L'Shimon. So Reuven borrowed money, and then he sold off all his fields to Shimon. Halach Shimon. Machar Sodach Levi. Shimon sells one field to Levi. Now Reuben comes along, the Balchayiv, the bank that lent money to Reuben comes along to collect. Who does he collect from? From Shimon or Levi? Ratzah Mizeh Goyva. Ratzah Mizeh Goyva. He has a choice. We're speaking that Levi bought Beinanis. Beinanis is something which is appropriate for the Balchayiv. So now, the Balchayiv can either collect from Shimon or from Levi. Why? This is only applicable Ela Dezav Beinonis, when Levi purchased Beinonis, which is something earmarked for the Baal Chayv. So he sort of bought the Shibud, he's obligated to pay. Aval Zav and Idis is Ziburis. Let's say he bought Idis or Ziburis, which typically is not earmarked for a Baal Chayv. Why? So then the Baal Chayv has no access to that. The Amr led because he can tell the Baal Chayv, get away. Look, pay attention to what I did. I was careful. I was a prudent businessman. I was careful to purchase the right fields, Idis, Ziburis, which is not meant for you. I heard the Leichadilach, not appropriate for you. So he has no right to access. But if he bought Beinonis, then there's a problem. Afilu, says the Gemara, Afilu Zaven Beinonis Nami Lamar. You should know, even if Levi purchased Beinonis, still, even in that case, we're not going to allow the Baal Chayv access to Levi's properties only on one condition. Ella de lo yishayer Beinonis. Say only if Levi was uncareful, in a sense that he didn't leave behind Beinonis, like the purchase that he field, like the field that he purchased. The Loimatzi Amrle, because in that case, He can't tell the Baal Chayv, look, what do you want from me? I left you some Beinis by Shimon, go there. Because he didn't leave him Beinis by he didn't leave Beinis by Shimon. But let's say he did. He was careful enough to leave him. But in a case where he purchased Beinis, but he also left a nice Beinis field by Shimon, Baal Chayv goes to Shimon. Well, you can't go to Levi. Because Levi can tell him, look, I was careful. Look, there you go. Go to Beinis, which I left by Shimon. Rabbi. Here comes a new case. Reuben sold a nice field to Shimon with achrayis, which means he's backing up the sale. Anything goes wrong, I pay you, I compensate you. And what happened? Reuben's bank comes along. Shimon grabs the field from Shimon in lieu of Reuben's lack of payment. So the halacha is Reuben can go ahead and challenge the bank in court. He can challenge the Baal Chayv, and the Baal Chayv can't tell Reuben, I have nothing to do with you. I took the field from Shimon, leave me alone. No, you can't say that to Reuben. You're not my litigant. I don't know you. Can't do that. You know why? Because Reuben says, look, you're right. I know you're not grabbing anything from me. You're not repossessing my land, but you're repossessing land which I purchased. So you're taking my customer's land, and he's going to come running to me, and I'm going to have to compensate him for that loss. Of course, I'm a player. I have a right to challenge you. Because he can tell the Baal Chayv, look, if you repossess that land, guess where he's going? He's going straight back to me. There's another version. Even if Reuben's sale was not with achrayis, so he's not legally required to back up that sale, still Reuben has a right to contribute to this back and forth, because now Reuben can tell the Baal Chayv, look, I'm not interested in Shimon being upset at me that his field got repossessed by my Baal Chayv, so I want to challenge you in Bezdin. You have a right to take it, I paid you back, etc., etc. He has a right, and he's considered a Baal Din. Okay, so that's it for today. We had a discussion regarding definition of Idis. Is it based on his personal standards, market standards? We had a stira between two brises and several ways to answer the stira. We know that a fellow who has a Baal Chayv, a Ksubas Isha, and Nizikin, the Mazik gets the Nizak gets the Idis, Baal Chayv the Beinoinis, Ksubas Isha the Ziburis. What if he sold all his properties? So they take over? Well, it depends exactly what happened and what he sold when. In many cases, you have the Chiddush of Rava, and when you sell property, it goes along with all its rights and privileges and zuchusim. And we concluded with the halacha that you can vouch for your sale, you can defend your record, even though you have no direct financial interest anymore, because ultimately it's your loss, either financially or in a personal sense. Hatzlach Rabbi to you and B'suras Tevis.